What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Estate Uncensored. We've got a great guest today. We're talking about the mindset and strategy to crush it in paid lead generation and SEO. We might talk a little bit about the future of real estate. We've got kind of a tech insider with us today, John Doherty, and we're going to talk about everything, like just what causes us to succeed or fail when it comes to actually buying leads online, the things that he sees working behind the scenes, working with agents across, different technology platforms and stuff that he's done, as well as just helping people build out websites that actually get ranked and get found when people want to find what you do. So we've got a bunch of stuff to get into. I'm excited for this one. John was introduced to us by a connection through a previous guest, Garrett Maroon. So just a quick shout out to Garrett and his partner and co-host Mark for making this connection. So we'll bring John in just a quick hot second. The Evil Bald Ninja is not with us, at least for now. He may be coming in with his hair on fire. We shall see. But for now, the Junior Grandmaster himself is in the co-pilot seat, hot and sweaty, just like always. What's up today, Greg?
You mean hot? Yes, that is. I am always hot. But you know what? I think you misspoke a second ago when you said that Gene's going to come in with his hair on fire, but his nickname is the Evil Bald Ninja.
Hey, so he has a glorious beard. He would be very insulted if I did not mention his beard hair.
No, I'm actually really excited about this. Yeah, John, just listening to him offline, guys, on our pre-show, he was just rattling stuff off like a machine gun. So get your pen and paper out, guys. This is going to be an amazing show. Tons of content's going to be flying away. Go back, rewatch it, share it with your kid sister, with your goldfish, your best friend, your mother, maybe a coworker, but definitely retain the knowledge. So, yes. John, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Not much, guys. Matt, Greg, thanks for having me. Don't forget to share it with your dog also. I know my dog always loves learning about this stuff. He's who I practice on when I have to give talks. So,
your dog probably knows more about SEO than either Greg or I combined. So congratulations to your dog.
Could be.
Oh my God. So let's start with just the 60-second bio, because you got a really interesting background. We don't want to go too far deep into it now, because we'll get to it in a little bit. But just the 60-second overview, kind of who you are, where you are, what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So name is John Doherty, founder and CEO of a company called Credo, which you can see on my shirt, getcredo.com. So I'm based out of Denver, Colorado. My team is based mostly out of Denver, Colorado, or a team of, depending on how you count it, 6 or 7 people kind of working on the business in any given day and week. And basically, we help companies find and hire the right digital marketing firm to help them take their business to the next level. So I have a long background in marketing. I've been doing it professionally, for 11 or 12 years. Started multiple companies, but on my own for about the last 6 years. And most relevant to this, I ran marketing for hotpads.com and then Trulia Rentals under the Zillow Group umbrella for about 2 years, 2013 to 2015. So, was deep in this world for a long time. And I own 2 houses as well. So I've been a buyer, I've been a seller and all of that. So I've seen it from that perspective too.
Yeah, and it absolutely helps to see it from the consumer's perspective, because I guarantee you all the 20-year-olds in Silicon Valley working on Zillow and Trulia have no idea. I mean, somebody there obviously knows what the consumer wants, but it's not the people doing the programming.
Yeah, for sure. And it's amazing, actually. I found our place up in the mountains on Zillow because I know how to set up like the systems and the alerts and all of that to look for the right things on these systems, just find out about them automatically, and we can jump on it when it's there. I feel like I have the inside scoop on that.
That's right. So I think we'll start with kind of the big overarching question that I think the average agent has about being found online is why is it so damn hard when you as an agent, you might have 10, 15, 20 years experience, or you're working for a brokerage that has all that experience. Like, why is it so hard for local brokerages, local companies? Why was it so easy for the Zillows and Trulias of the world to come in and beat them? And why is it just seem like it's impossible for the average agent to end up on page 1 of Google?
Yeah, it's a really, really great question. So I think the reason why it was pretty easy for Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, et cetera, to come in and really, Redfin to come in and really take over is because, like Rich Barton, current CEO, right, co-founder of Zillow, always says is, he looks for locked up industries where all the information is kept tight to the chest by the people in it, right? And they break it open, right? Zillow broke it open, provided this estimate, right? Which, what different people, different takes on it.
Right.
But, they provided something that gave information back to the consumer, right? So they empowered the consumer. They call it power to the people, empowered the consumer to actually make better decisions about probably one of the biggest decisions of their life, right? Buying a house, probably their largest monetary expense in their life. So, they basically provided a ton of that information. Because of that, build a lot of goodwill. And so therefore people go to it. And of course, all these companies had funding, right? So, they're able to go, they're able to hire teams, they're able to build tech, they're able to market, et cetera, and really just kind of push on that. So I think that's why, simply because they kind of aggregated everything together, and the search engines definitely prioritize aggregators, simply because, someone searches for as I said, I live in Denver. Someone searches for best Denver, Colorado real estate agent. They don't want to find just one person, right? Because it's obviously that person's site and they're trying to optimize towards that. They want to find a list, right? That's what the user is looking for. And so these, big players in the real estate space, rental space also have been able to kind of, take advantage of that, for lack of a better term. So really what you're going up against is, it's not just all the individual real estate agents, in your area, and to rank well, there's the tech, there's the content, there's the links, there's all this stuff that's required to rank, right? And you're focused on selling houses, not on, ranking in the search results, versus Zillow's whole company is focused on ranking on the internet.
Right.
They're an internet company, right? And they're putting, at least when I was there 6 years ago, they were putting, 100 million plus into advertising every year, TV, digital, et cetera.
Wow.
You cannot touch that. You cannot come close to touching that. And they're doing it in every market, right? And you're just laser focused on one. I do think there are ways to stand out. And I actually think it also behooves agents to, be where they are, right? Be where your consumers are. And if they are on those platforms, there are ways to do that well. And I think you should be there as well. But that's why it's so hard, honestly, because a lot of people, they just get outspent. A lot of agents just get outspent. And it's hard to overtake them. Quick, funny story, actually. I used to do SEO. My first freelance SEO gig was for a real estate agent in Marin County, north of San Francisco, right?
Oh, okay.
And I got them, it was the parents of a client of mine at the agency I was working at the time in New York. And I got his parents ranking #1 for Marin real estate. Right. So just blew up their business. They're paying me $50 an hour or something like that. Right. So I made them millions of dollars by getting them ranking #1, so from number 8 to #1. And then I moved over to Zillow Group, and it was basically my job to supplant them again. So, it kind of turns, and we did.
And you did, of course. Yeah. And now they're back to number 8. And forever.
I don't know where they are now. I haven't looked, but we at least bumped them out of #1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can see there's a case to be made that maybe the local brokerages and stuff should come up. And but what's interesting, I think, for the average agent, that explains kind of what's going on. But I think you said something really interesting that I want to point out, because there's a bigger point to it, which is that when you type something in like best agent in Denver or something like that, the search engines have learned, not because it's their opinion, but because they're watching what users do, that, users don't just want our list of what we think of as the best agents, and they want those aggregator sites. What's interesting about that is that I think the agents, if we're in the position where we want to be found, we naturally kind of rebel against that and go, no, there shouldn't be something standing between me and the people that I want to find me. The problem is that Google would completely agree with you if that's what the users actually wanted. So I think we have to remember that Google and companies like that are really good at figuring out and watching what users, not what they say they do, not what they say they want, but what do they actually want by what their behavior does. I think that's where things the better that Google gets, the better they get at identifying what users really want, and not just what we put in front of them and say, oh yeah, they gotta go, we totally use your website. That's what we want. It's when you actually use Google, here's what you actually do. And Google goes, okay, well, let's give them more of that. So I think the bigger point that I wanted to make there is just, it seems like, and we can get into this more later when we talk about SEO, that we have to keep in mind that it's not that you're necessarily going up against these bigger players and getting outspent. That's true. But the reason why that works is because at the end of the day, Google wants to give users what they want. And when some company comes along with advertising, it gives them something they want more. Google goes, hey, look, they can spend. We'll put them in the top 2 or 3 places if they spend. But the reason they come up first position organically on search is because that's what the users have decided. That's what they want, which is really interesting.
Exactly. They've built a brand, et cetera, right? And they're not the only ones there. I just searched Denver real estate agent. I get 4 ads. I get the map pack with three individual listings with the map of Denver, right? And then I get the organic, right? Which Zillow, Realtor, HomeLight, expertise.com, right? So, that's fascinating. But I can click and see more results underneath the map, and I get the full map of Denver, and I can zoom in directly on where I am, right? Because if I wanted to find a real estate agent in my neighborhood, I could do that. That's what the user wants. So, there's opportunities. There's opportunities there as well, because, I'm looking at this map, it's like a 1x4 like listings and map for Denver real estate agent. Zillow's nowhere to be found on there, right? That's your opportunity. There's no Trulia, right? There's no Home Light. They don't have the local physical presence. You do. If you have that physical presence, that's where you compete, right? Yeah. And obviously there's a lot of other marketing channels for real estate agents, which we can get into if we want to. But I do genuinely believe like there are still opportunities, but also like Google is a business. Google's business works best when they give the users what they want. So the better they can answer that, and users have told Google, if I search for Denver real estate, they want to see as many real estate listings in Denver as possible. And no one real estate agent's website is going to have that. The aggregators are.
Right. Yeah. Love it. Before we get into the 3 points of just like, how do we get our mindset and strategy together to go into something like a paid lead gen campaign? Greg, is there anything you want to cover first or comment on?
No, I'm just sitting here and listening and learning. I mean,
What?
Yes,
that's so unlike you,
Matt.
Is this the first Greg speechless?
It is. It actually really is. I'm sitting here. I'm just like, fuck, man. I'm just trying to keep up with John right now. Like
I said, well, I know you've been steeped up in this. Like you and your dad have been steeped in this for 40 years.
50.
Yeah, well, in your dad's case, yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, Greg, your dad has always been on the forefront of technology. Your brother works for Likely AI, which does predictive seller leads. Like you guys have thought deeply about these tech challenges for a long time. So, Anyway.
Yeah, no, Brad's the CEO of Likely, just to make that really clear. But he's the CEO and founder.
Good.
So, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here with John is fascinating, just because if you just grasp a pinky of kind of what John's saying, you'll be, far above the majority of the the other agents in your marketplace. And the really interesting thing is that, John, I want to ask you a quick question. We'll move on. When it comes to standing out and using platforms, do you think people should just stick with these lead generation platforms, or maybe doing their own videos or creating their own vlogs and blogs? Would that give them more SEO and give them more visibility? Or how does that work in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's a both and. I firmly believe in owning your own real estate. For lack of a better term, your own digital real estate, right? So your own website, your own social media channels, that sort of thing. Don't build your house on someone else's land, right? So because these companies, they're for profit, right? They're trying to make a profit, and it's always going to get more expensive, right? To stay number one in Denver, for example. Every year the costs go up. Every year the costs go up for, advertising, Google ads as well. Like it's just kind of how it's what the market does. And so you really do need to own your own website, your own digital real estate, your own social media profiles, be producing your own content, right? It's a both and for me, right? Because think about it this way, Greg. You're a Denver real estate agent, or you're a Walnut Creek real estate agent, let's say, right? And your website is optimized towards that, and you're ranking on the first page. That's one listing. How can you have a second listing? Well, you're on the Denver real estate agent list on Zillow, on Trulia, on Realtor, on all these other sites, right? We call it barnacle SEO. If you can't rank number one, get on their platform and be present there, you're not going to outrank them for it. How do you be there, right? And then they're going down and they're like, well, shoot, I'm seeing Greg on all of these, and then there's his website, right? Like, why are people not going to work with Greg at that point, but don't get into the platform risk of, they can remove you at any time if they want to, right? They can stop taking your money. They can, someone can pay them more money and all of a sudden you're number 2 or you're number 5, right? They change their model and all of a sudden, your spin doesn't go as far. And so you're only at the top half the time. There's all those things that can happen. So you also need to own your own brand. Well,
that's what happened with Zillow. All these tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of real estate agents have spent years getting Zillow reviews, and then one click of a button, gone. Yep. All that stuff was gone. And they didn't save it on their own servers, their own sites, or anything else like that. So I completely agree with you. Our whole model, our entire career has been, we call it a business in a box. We own our own numbers, we use fax numbers. Our own emails, our own everything is ours. So we just pick up, drop down in another place. Basically, you want to be agile is essentially what you're saying, and omnipresent. Always be creative.
Exactly. Be wherever they are, right? I mean, I think I mentioned to you, Matt, in when we did our pre-call like a month ago. YouTube is the #2 search engine on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Why are real estate agents not creating video? I know why, because barrier to entry to video is high, much higher than than social media even. Posting on Instagram, whatever. Like static photos are easy. Going live, putting a video, you talking, right? Like lighting and camera and sound and all that stuff. Like it's hard. I almost went to college. I tried to go to college for video production. And like, I still find it hard to do. I do video content. And I even still find it hard to do. So I can't even imagine someone that has like no technology background, how to do it, but like this stuff works, but you have to be there because people are watching, people are like, oh, my audience isn't on YouTube, or the best one, Greg, my audience isn't on Facebook. Facebook has 2.5 billion users.
Of course it does. They're there. Of course.
Right. Yeah, exactly. These companies be like, yeah, our users are on Facebook. I'm like,
I'm going to smack you.
That's hilarious.
I'm going to smack you.
Are you telling me
maybe if your market is 13-year-old teen girls, they may have a point there, but otherwise,
they may have a point there, right? Exactly. But like, in which case, go to TikTok.
Yes.
But I want to be very honest with all of our listeners. Matt is not poaching 13-year-old girls. Matt, recant that.
No, you will not find me on TikTok or attempting to get 13-year-old girls onto Facebook where I am. Okay, so let's thank you for that very creepy reference, Greg. I appreciate it.
Matt,
it's like the best way to start a rumor is to publicly deny it. Thank you, Greg, for now starting the rumor that I like 13-year-old girls.
I am the head of HR for our company, so I need to make sure that we are in compliance. But I mean, John, and all joking aside, when it comes to doing video, I mean, it is a little bit difficult, but I mean, all of us have, smartphones now, and that's a camera studio right there. But I'm like you, I have the lights, I have the cameras, I have the mics, I have the stands, I have, everything. I have the editing teams, and it is still very difficult to do it. I mean, because it takes time, energy, money. So I completely get where you're coming from, and I understand why people are not doing it. But it's probably 10 plus years ago, I just sat down like a dumbass in front of my little webcam on my camera on my computer at my office, and I shot like little 2 to 3 minute little videos about random shit every single day, and then posted them onto our website. I didn't even check, but then someone said, "Greg, you're ranking #1 on Google." I'm like, "What?" So I got on there. I own the first 3 pages of Google with real estate in my local area by posting stupid little videos, not caring what I was looking like. So guys, if you guys don't care, you can do it. There's always a way. You don't have to look professional. I mean, you're not going to look as good as John. I mean, that's a handsome man right there. I mean, and then John Levine. I mean, you're Matt Johnson. Adam Levine. Yeah, Adam Levine. No, he's not here today. Just Matt.
Good Lord. All right. Let's get back into the content. Let's stop talking. All right. I should have never given you the opportunity.
You asked me to talk.
That's my mistake. That's on me. All right. Let's talk about the first point. So we want to get into, what does it cost to pay to get leads? And what should we be willing to spend? How do we know what we should be willing to spend? So let's talk about where that point comes from, because you worked with a lot of local businesses, a lot of real estate agents, a lot of people. And you say they basically tend to start off just already being kind of in the wrong mindset. So let's deal with that first. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So what I mean by that is pretty straightforward. So at Credo, obviously we help companies find the right marketing firm to work with. And what we often hear from local businesses is that they're like, I need more leads is what we hear. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell me more about that. What's a lead? And they're like, I just need more people contacting me that are looking to, buy real estate in Denver. Okay. Like what neighborhoods, what types of houses, like, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. What we often hear from people is that we hear a lot of like, well, I'm going to start small, and if it works, I'm going to then scale up. Right. Okay. If I had $1 for every time I heard that, like I would be a retired man. Maybe $5. But think about it this way. If you're investing $500 into marketing per month, right? And your competitor is investing $3,000 into marketing, who is going to learn faster what works and what doesn't work? Your competitor is, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone is afraid of over-investing in marketing and wasting money. Almost no one is afraid of under-investing in marketing and not getting the results. I am way more scared of of under-investing than I am in am of over investing because I can learn fast and say like, okay, that didn't work. Right. That's also because like, I know my numbers. I know how much we make, per qualified project on our system. I know, how many leads we need in order to get X number of leads, to get Y number of calls, to get Z number of projects. Like I know all of those numbers. So I know what I can afford to pay. Right. And if, I can't get leads for, any less than like double what I want to, pay, I'm not going to keep investing in that channel because it's not profitable for us, But so basically, like what I see is a lot of people come in and they're scared. They're operating out of a place of fear of, and that's usually because, as I said, they don't actually know their numbers. We talk about real estate agents, and I mean, what Matt or Greg, what would you say is the average? What's the average commission that an agent gets?
That's a really wide question.
So Greg in San Francisco, his answer is going to be slightly different.
Yeah, mine's average about 25 to 40,000. Nationally, you're probably about 2,500, give or take.
Okay.
Per deal. And that's what, because I mean, Matt in Omaha, I mean,
split the difference and call it $5,000. Most agents throughout the country be lucky to make $5,000 on a deal.
Oh, lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah, totally. So let's just say that, you're making $5,000 off of a deal, right? How many deals are you doing in a month? Let's say you're doing 4, right? A good target, and then you need to know your other costs, right? I mean, like value your time, first of all. Value your time. How much time are you spending on this, right? You obviously, I mean, every real estate agent, every consultant, right, has stories of like, clients that they just want all your time. They're kind of a time leech, right? You kind of have to manage that well. But basically, like understanding how much is your time worth? How many hours did you spend on this? How much did you make from it? So then what's your hourly rate? What other things that you did? Did you buy advertising for them? Did you advertise in magazines, like that sort of stuff? My wife and I are currently trying to sell a lot of land up in the mountains. So, I've been going through all this recently. But so what you need to do is you need to understand like, okay, how much is it costing me to deliver the thing? Right. Like how much am I making per hour? Like that sort of thing. How many am I selling per month? So say you're making $5,000 on average per deal, you're selling 4 per month. You're making $20,000 a month, basically $250,000 a year. A good ROI on advertising spend. What I usually tell people to target is you try to get to a 4-to-1 return. So if you're making $20,000 a month, if you're, all of your lead gen is coming from, and obviously real estate agents have their referral engines and all that stuff going, local advertising, that kind of thing, but you should be spending probably at that rate about $5,000 a month on marketing, content production, video production, advertising, etc. Right? It doesn't have to be like Google ads or Facebook ads or Zillow or whatever, but like, if you're expecting to spend $300 a month and make an extra $20,000, right? That's like what's that? 70x, I think, return. That's insane. Right. No one gets a 70x return, right? If you're think about it. If you're targeting, a 4-to-1 return, let's even say a 5-to-1 return, you're going to have to spend $300 a month for 5 months to, the math works out to, you're going to close 1 new deal every 5 months from $300 in spend. If you up that,
wait,
you're going to get more.
Wait, back that up. Back those numbers up real quick. Yeah. Say that again.
Yeah, totally. So, so say you're making on average $5,000, $5,000 a month on a deal, right? Right. You have, so I guess that's like 3.5 months. So if you're spending $300 a month, right? So for that $5,000 deal, you should expect to pay about $1,000, $1,250 to get that deal, right? If we're doing that 4-to-1, ROAS. So if you're spending $5,000 a month, you can probably expect to get 4 deals, right? If you're hitting that 4x return, versus if you're spending $300 a month, right? To get to that $1,200 expected spend, it's going to take you 4 months. So do you want to sell 1 deal every 4 months, or do you want to sell 4 deals every 1 month? It just depends on the amount that you spend. As long as you know your numbers and know like we spend X, we get Y leads, we this many, actually contract with us and this many actually buy.
Yeah, and that's a difference from like what. So the experiments that I've been doing in the paid lead gen side are quite a bit, I guess, different because it's like when you're advertising, let's say coaching, consulting, marketing agency services, stuff like that, right? I mean, you notice like a lot of SEO or not SEO, a lot of paid traffic agencies don't find their own clients that way because it's wildly unpredictable. In real estate, it's fairly predictable. Like I have clients that have been running paid traffic for, on Google pay-per-click for 10 years. It's fairly predictable by now. To buy internet leads online for real estate. We know exactly how many calls it takes. It's about 150, dials or whatever to get a client, like all this stuff. Like we kind of have those numbers. I think what's interesting for agents is, and this is what gets a lot of agents in trouble and makes them hesitant to spend, which is that they mentally think of it as deals they would get anyway, and they're comparing it to the cost of a referral, which is zip. It's like, well, you're not talking about the same thing. Like take your referral business and the leads that you get from like prospecting, that's just your time, and put them in one bucket. And these are a completely different bucket. Right. And I think that's where agents really need to, that's the mindset part, is you can't compare going out and spending to acquire deals the same way you compare them against a referral, because obviously a referral costs you nothing other than the sweat or whatever. But imagine if you're a real business, you have to spend to acquire clients. So you're going to spend something on marketing. The question is, what are you going to spend? Where are you going to put it? And how much is it? So this, like the leads that come in through pay lead gen have to be put in another completely separate bucket. And the question is, how much am I willing to spend? And I would say if you talk to most team leaders, they'd spend, like Jeff Cohn, for example, in Nebraska, I'm pretty sure spends to get a $1,500 deal, which is like his cut after all the expenses and stuff. I mean, he'll spend up to $1,000. Yeah. Now the difference is that, like, there's a lot of volume. Obviously,
he's a volume
The difference
guy.
with him is he went out and got marketing arrangements with mortgage companies to cover most of those costs of lead gen. Brilliant. So guess what? He's not actually paying the $1,000 for that deal. Somebody else paid the $1,000 for the deal because they make money off of it too. Yep. So I think once you get like that mindset, and he has that mindset, which is I'm going to spend. He just decided to spend like a certain amount per month. He knew it was going to be learning, and he knew to separate those deals from the ones he was already getting from free stuff.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Two quick things. Number one, you're always spending something. If it's not money, it's time and expertise, right? Like money, time, expertise. Pick two is basically what I tell people, right? It's kind of like the good, what is it? Good, fast, something else, that triangle. Good, fast, cheap is what it is.
Oh, that's right.
Right. Like pick two.
You can't do all three.
So yeah, exactly. You can't do all three. And then the other one is you're absolutely right. I just want to point it out is that every marketing channel is going to have different costs, right? Yeah. Like SEO leads are going to be way cheaper than ad leads. It's also hard to rank. It takes a while to rank. Sometimes you're not going to be able to rank because you're up against, these behemoths, these aggregators. So yeah, you might get a lead from there for whatever, $25, let's say. But it's also not consistent, right? It's going to take you a long time to get to the point where you're getting any volume that makes any sense. So I think that's really,
By the way, a quick question on that, just on the volume stuff. Is it a learning thing, or does it have to do with the algorithm where if you don't put enough money in, or you don't set your daily budgets and stuff high enough, do you get downplayed even within the algorithm itself to the point where, I mean, I'll give you an example. Like there's I'm experimenting with some ads right now, and the recommendation is to put like $10 a day, and test 4 or 5 different things each at $10 a day, but it doesn't always spend that amount. So I've always been curious of, do things work the same way in small amounts, or do you sometimes just have to throw a lot of money at it, get the algorithm to put your ad in front of a lot of people so that it finds the vein of people that's the right ones? And if you never put that amount, do you never just, you don't give yourself a chance to find that vein of people?
I mean, it depends on the platform, right? I mean, Google Ads is an auction system. I have a tool that I use called, what is this? Keyword Spy? What is this thing called? I don't even remember anymore.
Keywords Everywhere?
Keywords Everywhere. You got it. So, and it tells me the search volume and then also the cost per click, right? So I just searched Denver real estate agent, and the cost per click they're telling me is $20.13 per click, right? So, if I know that, and you can find that out from Keywords Everywhere for free, SEMrush paid, SimilarWeb, I think tells you it with paid accounts. SparkToro might as well. I'm not sure. I think they do. Rand's new thing. But if they're saying it's going to be $20 a click, and you're saying I'll spend $5, you're not going to show up. You're going to be competitive there, right? Like your bid is not strong. So it's like going into a house and they're saying like, hey, it's 500. We have 3 offers at $500K, and you're like, I'll give you 125. They're like, get that out of here, So it's exactly the same thing. So you kind of have to run that math and say like, okay, if we spend there are some tools as well that kind of tell you the breakdown between clicks that go to paid, clicks that go to organic. Ahrefs.com is one. And you can, it's math is really what it is. It's like, okay, there's 1,000 searches a month and 40% of those clicks go to paid. So that's 400 clicks a month that go to paid, and 50% of those are going to go to the top, right? So I can get 200 clicks a month from there, but it's going to cost me $4,000 because it's an average $20 a click, right? But how many leads do you get? What's your conversion rate on your site? Yeah,
exactly.
If you can get 10 qualified leads in there, right? Like you just got leads for $200 a pop. That's pretty awesome, especially if you're making $5,000, per closed deal, right? And 2 of those close, you've just made $10,000 off of, your $2,000 in spend. It's math. So you do have to be competitive there. And if you only have a little bit to spend, right, kind of focus down on the main ones, and make sure you're tracking it carefully, what's converting, what's not, what's it cost you to get it, how well does it convert to a sale, that kind of thing. And you adjust from there. I mean, it's never one and done, set it and forget it. Like there's always constant optimization needed.
Which is where the pay, you mentioned the expertise, that you got to pick 2 of the 3 things. And if you're going to get into paid, you got to get the expertise. Either you have to build it yourself or you have to pay for it.
You pay for it. You definitely pay for it. And then I think, John, one of the things that
SEO. Facebook ads, any of that.
Any of that stuff, always pay for that stuff. Your job as a real estate agent is not to learn how to do this. It's learning to work with John and his company to find the right marketing company that's going to work for what you're looking for. And then you guys go out and just sell homes. A number of years ago, my dad built a spreadsheet for me because I was doing a lot of door knocking and cold calling. I still am. But it broke down my per minute, per hour, per day, per lead. And, my value, in a dollar per dollar, minute by minute, valuation. And all of a sudden, as soon as, like what John was saying, as soon as you understand what your dollar, value is per lead, per hour, per, channel, all of a sudden, it's like Indiana Jones in one of his movies where he throws the sand across that crevasse and all of a sudden you see the bridge and it's clear as day. What John's going to do is going to show you how to see that bridge so that you don't just stumble around like a blind man in a dark room. It's just, that's what a lot of agents do all the time and a lot of business people do. Wouldn't you say, John?
Yeah. And then once you understand that hourly rate, let's say, you're effectively making $100 an hour, right? Which would be fantastic for a lot of people. That's phenomenal money. Then you realize you're like, oh, I'm, doing these $10 tasks. Why am I running to the printer in order to, get these flyers and then like putting stamps on them, et cetera? Pay an intern to do that, right? Pay them $15 an hour. They're going to be stoked, right? People are like, oh, I can't afford to do that. I'm like, you can't afford not to do that.
Oh, by the way, Matt,
you should be making $100 an hour. Like you're making 10 by doing this. Like pay someone else to do it.
Yeah, especially for agents when the right things, like Greg, that spreadsheet kicked out a number that basically said when your butt is in the seat making calls, you're worth $1,200 an hour. Like you're worth more than most attorneys and doctors. Oh, so combined. The idea that you should be doing anything.
That's awesome.
Dude, and that's just on prospecting. And then I have another spreadsheet that was just given to me, and it shows return on cash on investment properties the way that my buddy Todd Ashton is showing me how to buy these things back tax liens. Dude, I'm going to be picking up my first 3 properties in the next about 6 to 8 weeks. I'll be making over $1,400% return on my cash. It is astronomically fucking stupid. But by the way, when it comes to time on task, Matt, when are you going to have my envelopes stamped? Because I'm really.
Damn it! I had something chambered and you beat me to it. All right, let's move into point number 2. So let's talk about how agents are, for whatever reason, oddly focused on finding freelancers and agencies that know their hyper local market really well, instead of finding people that are just really good at what they do and can apply that knowledge to any location all across the country. Because this really is a big problem. If we're going to tell people to hire someone, we should tell them what criteria to look for, and agents are going to gravitate towards, according to you, John, like just flat out the wrong criteria.
Yeah. So what we see a lot, Matt, is and part of the reason why we've helped a decent number of real estate agents and HVAC companies and that kind of thing, but we're not like super competitive in that space like yet, though we deliver great results for them, is because I haven't focused on, my business is different from like a general directory, right? I mean the directories in my space, they absolutely have their place. Clutch, UpCity, they all have their place, right? I know people at all of them. But like we don't just have a giant list of thousands of marketing agencies, right? Like we focus on matching people with with agencies that can actually get the results, right? So we don't have, 50, we don't have all 50 agencies, and there's way more than that in Denver listed on our Denver, Colorado marketing companies page, right? And so
otherwise, it's just a Google search.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, when agents are going to find an agency, it's not like, best real estate marketing agents, marketing firms, marketing agencies, marketing companies. They're searching for Denver, Colorado SEO companies, Denver, Colorado marketing companies, because they're like, well, then they're going to know my neighborhood. They're going to know what's there. And so therefore they're going to be able to drive people there. Right. As opposed to what I would way rather do is find the person or the company that has experience working with people that are basically the same type of business as me. Right. So a real estate firm, you have an office, et cetera, but you also go to the people, and, people are searching for, you in your city, and then probably in your neighborhood, and that sort of thing. That's kind of how we see the keyword volume breakdown work. I would rather find someone that specializes in working with real estate agents. So it doesn't matter if they're based in Boise, I'm in Denver. It doesn't matter if they're based in Boise, Idaho, New York City, or Atlanta, Georgia. Obviously, costs are going to be different depending on where they are geographically. So do take that into account. But, if I was a real estate agent, I'd want someone that they're like, look, we've ranked this agent in this market that's similar to Denver, and this agent in this market that's similar to Denver, and this agent is similar to this market as Denver. And this is our process, and this is how we do it, and we can do it for you. It doesn't even matter if they've, ever driven down Sheridan Boulevard in Denver, which is where your office is. Does not matter, because they have the process to get you ranked in that area.
Yeah.
That's what's important. And most of them, like if you find someone, most of these, real estate agencies, marketing agencies, for example, they give geographic area exclusivity, right? So like if they don't have an agent or a franchise, a real estate franchise in Denver, they can take you on. If they do, you got to find somebody else, right? Because they're not going to work with competing people. So that's also interesting as well. To take into account as you're looking to hire. You got to ask that question, like, hey, I'm based in Denver, Colorado. Do you have someone in this area? No. Okay. Do you do exclusivity? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's talk.
Yeah.
I use a company called Clever Leads, spelled with a K. And they've been working, I've been working with them for a year and a half now, and they're doing a really good job with lead generation. I'm actually going to talk to you off air about this. I might want to connect you guys with him and with another gentleman. But I mean, you're right. It doesn't have to be local. He was in Reno. Now he moved to Central Florida, but he's so tied in with the real estate mindset and the culture that he's able to do the right marketing in the right places and get leads from anywhere in the world. Yeah. So
he gets the process of optimizing your website, optimizing your GMB, optimizing your local citations, your name, address, phone number. He gets all of that, right? He has a system that works for you anywhere, that works for anyone anywhere in real estate agent's geographic area.
So walk me through really quickly the mindset that you've come across. Why do agents only want to work with someone that's in their local neighborhood? Like Steve down the street who has, ABC Steve Marketing, right? Yeah. Why is that?
So I would say it's an old school mindset. I'm not trying to like zing anybody here, but like it's an old school mindset of, face-to-face real estate agents until really pandemic, right? It was like they come to you, you ride around in their car, you go and see houses, right? Like, that sort of thing. It's very face-to-face. It's very relational. And so I think like, because that's the way their business is, that's also, kind of what they want. They want someone that can come to their office and sit and talk with them and, and that sort of thing. And it just, it feels better to, have someone that can, mention like, oh yeah, I love going to, that restaurant on that road, right near your office. It's like, and that is, by the way, always going to give an agency a leg up. Like if you're a Denver real estate agent and you're talking to, like there's an agency here in Denver that does phenomenal local SEO, paid ads, et cetera, for franchises and, location-based businesses. They're going to have a leg up over someone that's in Omaha or someone that's in Atlanta. Right.
But they shouldn't.
Well, yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah. They shouldn't just because they're in that area, but they will because they're in that area because of the mindset of like, well, I'd rather someone be able to come to my office, even though like dude, we work on the internet, right? Like internet marketers are geeks. Like
Yeah.
I've done my job in the last 6 years running Credo. I've done it from 20 different states and 7 different countries.
Whoa.
Like I ran Credo from Tokyo, Japan for a week, right?
Really?
Like, I've lived in Europe for multiple months. I lived there for a couple of years in my 20s before I got into marketing. Well, when I got into marketing, but like I've run my company from Europe for multiple months. It does not matter. My agencies are all here. We're generating leads in the US, Canada, etc. It does not matter that I'm sitting in Barcelona, Spain, or Chamonix, France, and skiing every morning. Does not matter.
It's totally true. By the way, I love Tokyo. That's probably one
Tokyo's
of my
amazing.
One of my favorite cities. My girlfriend and I were there in 2018, and we got all kinds of messed up, and we were walking around the city late at night. Right, super cool, so mellow as shit. Then we came across a skate park, and there were these crazy ass skateboarders out there filming right next to bums that were passed out next to their puke, and everybody was chill as shit. And I'm like, I freaking love this country. By the way, sushi's being served for breakfast. Okay.
I lived in New York City for 2.5 years. It is my favorite city in the world. I've been to like most of the Asia countries or cities, but like any major European city, I've pretty much been there. Tokyo is my number 2 city.
What's your number 1? New York?
New York.
Oh, dude.
City. I mean, it's the greatest city in the world. So good. They named it twice.
Okay, that's a running joke. But
I love
funny,
New York.
Oh my god!
I mean, obviously, John and I are laughing about traveling and everything else. Matt hates it; it makes his bones hurt. But I mean,
I like getting there. I don't like anything in between involving airlines or anything of that nature. Once I set foot in an airport, I'm an unhappy camper until I get out of the airport. Otherwise, I love traveling.
I've literally traveled the world with this man. That is a complete and total fact. But the thing is about what John's saying is that when it comes to your marketing team, go look for the best. I mean, contact John, get a hold of Credo. I mean, get the people who are in Tokyo, that are in Paris, that are in Belize, that are in New York. Doesn't matter. Get the team that's going to work the best for you, and stop looking for Bob. Fucking, we hate Bob. Bob's such a dick. Even if he's from Remax or if he's a marketer, we just hate Bob. Bob.
Right.
We don't like
poor Bob.
But get a hold of them and get your party started, guys. I mean, it's obviously John knows what he's talking about. That's very freaking clear, and we haven't even scratched the surface. No,
I was gonna say I've got one more key question that I want to ask John. I know we're going to talk about just people being bombarded with snake oil salesmen and stuff like that. We might talk about that too, but I wanted to make sure people know exactly where to go and exactly what Credo does, so that they understand clearly what you guys do.
Yeah, so it's getcredo.com, getcredo.com. I mean, as I said, we help companies find and hire the right digital marketing firm. So we have a lot of agencies in our network that work with franchises, work with franchisees, work with franchisors, and understand how to drive traffic in a local geographic area. We also help a lot of software businesses and e-commerce and such, but like lead gen, B2B lead gen, and local stuff, like our agencies are super strong in that. So basically contact us, go to getcredo.com, top right, get started button, fill out that form, schedule a call with my team. They'll talk with you about it. I will say if your budget is under $2,500 a month, what we'll do is we'll open up your lead to our broader network of people, and people that are interested that we've already vetted as well will reach out. Versus if your budget's over that, right, you're spending $5,000 a month on Google ads, that kind of thing, looking to get someone to professionally manage your spend. We'll match you up directly we'll actually schedule you directly with agencies that we have in our network that we know do phenomenal, Google ads for real estate. That's awesome. We built out a network of pre-vetted people that we trust. We know these people. I talk to all of them monthly. My team talks to them, daily. They're our trusted partners. And, we send $3 to $5 million worth of marketing work to agencies monthly.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Last month, agencies closed $379,000 in work from Credo.
That's impressive.
We're a small team that punches above our weight.
All right, and just let me point out something real quick. To the agents in the audience that maybe listen to that and go, well, I'm not in that category. I'm not going to spend $5,000 a month. You'd be surprised. So Jeff Cohn, back in the day when he was first getting into internet leads, when he made the decision to get in, it wasn't very long after that he went to a mortgage company and got them to start paying for the leads. So, and I think it was like $5,000 or $10,000 right off the bat. And that was when he was only a couple years into the business as a top producing agent. So if you have the ability to close and you have any kind of track record, you may in fact go be able to convince a loan officer or a mortgage team to give you $5,000 or $10,000 a month for online lead gen, because they're looking for they're looking for places to spend that money. Number one, not every mortgage team or company is doing their own online lead gen. They're looking to partner with good agents that can actually close the leads and send them business, right? So there's a lot in it for them. So before you count yourself out of that category, not so fast. See if you can form that relationship, because if you can, and you come hat in hand, you go, great, now I've got it. I've got this agreement. They're going to pay $5,000 a month. Then you say, great, now let's go find somebody who can run this. And it's not about, it's not about you having to put in another 3 or 4 years before you get to that point. You may be at that point. You just need to pick up the phone and call some mortgage teams. So, yeah, I just want to point that out.
No, that's totally true. But also, guys, I want to encourage you to go talk to your manager and your broker. Make sure what your legal stances are, and what you can and cannot do in your specific markets and states. Matt,
yes.
Hey,
it's true. It's true. Yes, it does not apply unconditionally all across the country in the exact same way. Yes,
I just don't want to get sued. You can get sued. I'm not getting sued.
I don't want to get sued either.
Yeah, John's on my side on this one. But guys,
yeah.
Right in front of me, this is my expense sheet that we put out every single month. I'm not going to show you all the numbers, but we put out almost $18,000 a month. Yeah,
screenshot.
Someone had to pull it up.
I'll just pull it back like this. Can't get it, bitches.
What is this? What is this Pornhub with $1,000 a month? What?
Hey, that's my downtime. Relax.
So I had to bring that up because Tony Barbarino in the comments has been really giving Greg a hard time about something, just porn stuff, which is really funny for no known reason. And then he gave probably the best comment that I've seen in a while. I said, in Japan, the Yakuza doesn't bother Greg McDaniel out of respect. That is a great comment, Tony. Thank you for that.
That's really good. My point about this, getting back to all serious shit, is that when you look at your expense sheets, right, and you kind of figure out where it's going, you will be astonished on how much you can afford when you trim the fat on the shit you don't need. I talked with a guy one time about five years ago, and he was trying to figure out how he could figure out to get was it $1,000? No, it was like $600 a month to get a private office. And I said, okay, go back, you and your wife, go through your expenses, figure it out. He called me the next day. He's like, holy mother, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, I just went through our expenses. My wife and I spend $3,000 a month on going to lunch every single month. Yeah, Matt's eyes just bugged out.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Wow.
And so they chopped that off immediately, got him his private office, got him his calling system, and he was off to the races. So you guys, the money,
the Camaro, it's there. I remember years ago, 2017, I was in Barcelona working abroad for a while, and I just sat down, looked at my books, and was like, I found $600 a month in expenses that I didn't realize we were paying. It's like we were paying intercom $80 a month. I had uninstalled intercom 6 months before. We're still paying $80 a month. Like, I just trimmed out a bunch of that stuff. I'm all of a sudden like, well, there's my profit margin, Yeah. So yeah, it's very, very, very possible to do. And if you can take that, right, and like take it from, these tools that we all sign up for, right? You're paying for 3 of the same thing, right? Because they all do, slightly different things. When the pandemic hit, I went and, cut that out and just streamlined everything. And all of a sudden my business went super profitable. We've been operating at break even and we went super profitable. It's not bad practice. It's actually good practice to do.
I mean, the number one thing I'm going to cut out of my budget is Matt's monthly check to supplement his income. I mean, his, $1,500. Matt, you're not going to get that anymore. I need to put that into my marketing. I'm going to invest with John.
It's very important to me.
I feel like I just watched a parent tell their kid they're not getting an allowance anymore.
I was gonna say, don't take away my lattes, Greg. Don't take away my lattes.
Yeah,
right. All right, I've got one selfish question for John before we bail out of here.
Do it.
So here's what I want to know, because you work with a lot of other industries. Is there any industry that either you know about or that you're keeping an eye on that is further ahead of real estate, in the sense that if you watch that industry, you get a sense of what might be coming to real estate? Or is real estate one of those that are kind of like on the cutting edge of tech and paid lead generation, for example?
So I think any direct to consumer brand is one to watch. I'm a big fan of looking at what people, marketers in my case, in other industries are doing that's working for them. And then how can I apply that to my own business, to my own, framework, strategies, tactics that go into growing my business. So the direct to consumer space, super hot, right? Blew up during the pandemic. But they're doing just some really cutting edge stuff. So from their paid ads, from their funnels, their conversion funnels, right? They do really good work. So I'd look at the people at like a Common Thread Co. My buddy Aaron is their VP of marketing over there. He's based in Portland. And yeah, there's just a lot of other like direct to consumer brands. I mean, think like everyone knows like Dollar Shave Club and that kind of thing. So, brands like that, right? That previously would have gone through a wholesaler, would have been sold at, whatever store that you would walk into, right? That just have gone, direct. And, I've been a Dollar Shave Club subscriber for 8 years, probably, right?
Dude,
I get fresh razors every 6 weeks. Like, it's great. I don't have to remember to pick it up at Walgreens when I'm there. I hate going to Walgreens.
Dude, I have so many of those razors in my cabinet. I mean, it's like a freaking fortress. I mean, the apocalypse happens and I'm still going to be able to shave. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
But yeah,
I would watch the D2C brands and see what they're doing. Because they're all kind of like cutting edge, because it's super competitive, right? They're all really modern in their branding, modern in their messaging. And then the other space I'm seeing really blow up right now is actually like anything around actual artificial intelligence. So like copy.ai or conversion.ai, like, companies writing like marketing copy, it's like Jarvis or these like other, various like artificial intelligences, like writing copy for people, writing ad copy, like that sort of thing. That space is blowing up right now. And so I think there's some interesting things that you can apply, across the board. I'm going to be testing some of them out for our own like ad copy and such.
Are you really? Interesting. Yeah. My buddy's trying to get me to test out conversion AI last year. We looked at that. And then another buddy sent me Jarvis just the other day. It's funny because I caught a video online, which I didn't intend to watch, but I just stumbled onto it. And it was Seth Godin talking about that. And he basically said, look, if you're a mediocre copywriter or a mediocre marketer, it's time to get out, because you're about to be replaced, which I thought was funny. It's like, man, well, I hope I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
Dude, John, I have to connect with you offline. I have a bunch of people I want to connect you with. But I mean, Matt, I don't care what you say. We're having John back on the show. Okay.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it.
Even though you're the one that booked him.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Greg, how do people connect with you?
They call you.
That is not true. That is not true at all.
No, damn it. So realistically, guys, go ahead and get a hold of me. Reach out to me at 925-915-1978. We are doing some crazy, amazing stuff in regards to our EXP team. We are hiring for our EXP team. We have just launched our trucking side, definitely on the West Coast, and it is knock out of the park. Amazing stuff. So yeah, reach out to me at 925-915-1978, and we will show you how you guys can actually just crush skulls. Yeah, God damn it, this fucking heat's fucking killing me. Crush skulls. Matt, how do you people get a hold of you? And then we're going to get to John, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here.
All right. GetMicrofamous.com. If you want to launch a podcast to grow your coaching and consulting business, just go to GetMicrofamous.com. You can also get the book on Amazon. So, all right. John, GetCredo.com. People should go check that out, especially if they're looking to hire and connect with a marketing agency that can help their local business grow. And of course, you guys work with all types of different industries, by the way. So if you're listening, keep that in mind for all of your friends that are in other adjacent spaces. If they have this problem and they want more local leads, tell them to go to GetCredo.com. It's not just for obviously people in the real estate space. It's for any local service business can benefit. So, Greg, how would you like to end this off? Do you want me to pick a color for the bow that we shall tie around this episode?
Please pick a color for the bow. That would be amazing.
Right. Well, I've been mesmerized by the background of John's wall, so I have to go with. It's not quite navy blue.
Is that ocean blue?
But it's a darker kind of bright blue. Yeah, it's somewhere in that. So let's go. What do you call that?
It's actually Credo blue.
It's Credo blue.
It is our branded blue. Yeah,
there you go.
I got it specifically made, and I painted my office in it.
So you made your own color.
Yeah, I mean it's a hex code, right? And then I, gave it to Home Depot, and they made me the color. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
So, so Matt, is your back wall the black is kind of like the color of your heart, just a little piece of coal?
It's patent pending. It's yes. It's hex code XXXXXX.
All right, guys, all jokes aside, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We can't do the show without you guys. Go to everywhere you guys watch and listen to podcasts. Give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review, so that you guys can always see what's coming up and what we're going to be putting out. Please tag John in any kind of positive comments you want to put out there. Tag Matt in any negative comments you want to put out there about the show. But we can't wait to see you the next time. Until next time, guys, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.